In the shadowy realm of global energy, Qatar is quietly plotting a daring coup. Their audacious goal? To seize a staggering 40% of the lucrative LNG market by 2029. Whispers of this ambitious plan have been circulating through the corridors of power, leaving industry insiders on edge and rival nations scrambling to respond. Qatar's intricate strategy involves supplying a colossal 40% of all the fresh LNG shipments that will flood the market in the coming years. As if that weren't enough to raise eyebrows, the sly nation has also set its sights on their rivals, the United States and Australia. The US, already in the process of constructing colossal megaplants, and Australia, steadily catching up, have unwittingly become pawns in Qatar's masterstroke. But with such a grand scheme afoot, there comes an ominous question: will this fervent movement trigger a new energy crisis? The world watches with bated breath, as speculations abound about an impending cataclysm of overproduction, leaving nations teetering on the brink of uncertainty. A seismic shift away from traditional oil and commodity market dependence has already been set in motion, and the market linkage that once seemed an unbreakable conduit for global stability proved its fragile nature in the crisis of 2021. Yet, the fog of uncertainty hangs heavy, and the jury remains out on whether the storm has truly subsided. European authorities, known for their stoic resilience, acknowledge the potential repercussions with caution. At any moment, our gas could set sail for Asia, they admit, taking preventive measures to safeguard their interests. But even these efforts may pale in comparison to the storm brewing on the horizon. Recent history serves as a harbinger of the tumultuous times ahead. The past 13 to 14 years have witnessed the world grappling with no less than 4 significant gas crises. A tapestry of interconnected events wove together the first 3 crises, creating a common context for the turmoil. The late 2000s and early 2010s saw the first gas crisis unfurl as the global financial crisis sent demand and prices plummeting. In the wake of this tumult, the US seized an opportunity, morphing from an importer to a formidable exporter of gas. Qatar too invested heavily in LNG production facilities. However, the falling US demand led to an unexpected surplus of gas that flowed into Europe, and later, due to soaring demand in Asia, found itself shifting continents. In 2019, the world was struck by the second gas crisis, sparked by a swift influx of new LNG production capacities that outpaced the sluggish pace of demand. This calamitous event coincided with the coronavirus crisis, causing a domino effect of falling oil prices, which in turn wreaked havoc on gas prices. The OPEC+ group's internal strife culminated in a ruthless price war, dragging this gas crisis into the abyss of a broader energy and overproduction crisis. As the world hurtles towards a decisive moment in its energy narrative, massive gas production facilities are set to come online between 2024 and 2027. This juncture is both the crux of Qatar's audacious ambitions and a foreboding cloud on the horizon. In the grand theater of energy geopolitics, Qatar and the US alone will introduce a staggering 150 billion cubic meters of new production capacity, reigniting concerns about potential oversupply. As the stage is set for a high-stakes showdown, the world braces for the reverberations of Qatar's bid for market dominance and the consequences of a looming energy crisis. In the murky realm of international power plays, only time will reveal who will emerge victorious, and which nations will be left grappling with the fallout. As the year 2025 looms closer, the global energy landscape stands on the precipice of uncertainty. Qatar's ambitious bid to dominate 40% of the LNG market by 2029 has set off a chain reaction of events that could lead to a crisis of overproduction. The stage is set, and the players are ready, but will the world be prepared for the consequences? When we cast our gaze to the horizon of 2025 to 2027, a troubling truth emerges. The sheer volume of gas expected to flood the market during this period is poised to surpass the threshold that precipitated the overproduction crisis of 2019. Qatar, the United States, and even Russia are gearing up to introduce substantial new production capacities, bringing the average addition of gas dangerously close to the critical threshold. The ominous specter of an overproduction crisis looms large. Yet, amidst this impending storm, a glimmer of hope emerges in the form of contracts with oil indexation. These contracts offer a fixed delivery endpoint, and eager consumers have already created demand to match these endpoints. In places like China, gas power plants are sprouting up, and contracts with gas suppliers are inked, creating a seamless chain of synchronization. New LNG terminals are being erected to ensure a steady supply of gas for these contracts, potentially helping to absorb some of the looming excess production. The crux of the issue lies with American production. While not all of it will inevitably flood the market, the risk remains if all the new capacities come online simultaneously. The overproduction crisis would primarily wreak havoc on the gas traded on the exchange, a segment currently divided between contracts with oil indexation and those with exchange indexation. The surplus supply could heavily impact the exchange-traded gas market, sending ripples of uncertainty throughout the industry. In this dark hour, Europe emerges as a potential savior. In the past year, the European Union and the United Kingdom decreased their gas demand due to the global economic downturn but compensated with an increased appetite for LNG since they couldn't access pipeline gas from Russia. This newfound demand could divert some of the surplus production. Nevertheless, Europe's long-term goal remains to reduce overall gas consumption, creating uncertainty for other suppliers who rely on the European market. Past crises have unveiled the vulnerability of companies transporting gas from the United States to traditional markets. These players, essential in the intricate dance of supply and demand, are also the most susceptible to suffer during an overproduction crisis. Their LNG prices hinge on Henry Hub exchange quotes, along with liquefaction and transportation costs. If exchange quotes plummet to alarmingly low levels due to excess supply, transporting LNG to Europe becomes unprofitable. Under such circumstances, these companies might opt to forego the gas altogether, rather than bear the brunt of financial losses. As the tumultuous tale of the gas market unfolds, it becomes evident that multiple influences shape its destiny. The introduction of new capacities, while promising prosperity, might unwittingly lead to overproduction. Europe's potential role as a crisis-mitigating ally remains shrouded in uncertainty, as its long-term trend leans toward gas consumption reduction. In the end, the gas market remains subject to the invisible hand of supply and demand, with its fate hinging on the delicate balance of global forces. Only time will reveal the true consequences of this high-stakes game, and the world holds its breath, awaiting the outcome. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe and hit the bell. Stay updated with our latest content. Leave your comments below, we love hearing from you.